Absolute free speech will eventually mean no free speech, and no free speech means no democracy. But why, and more importantly, how? Okay, I'll keep this brief. Please identify weaknesses in my short argument if you can. As covered, absolute free speech is the unconditional freedom to express opinions without censorship. It therefore permits misinformation. Misinformation invariably favours authoritarian-leaning politicians. How? Well, I will get to that shortly. Once said politician attains power, they then diminish free speech. Yeah, but it never happens, you're probably thinking. Well, let me hit you with this. I would prefer my son to die in an accident than end up gay. The words of the Brazilian politician Bolsonaro. I am sexist, and very proud of it. Another, from his endless supply of provocative remarks, a supply which saw him gain the presidency of Brazil. Why do I bring this up? Well, his storyline perfectly fits with my argument. You see, he was relentless in his use of disinformation, which is perfectly just in the eyes of so-called free speech absolutists. Ironically, once he, the product of absolute free speech, took to power, the country in fact moved further away from freedom of speech than it was prior. 2 weeks ago, I made a LinkedIn post. It began with, "Truth in politics has decayed. Truth predicates democracy, and so democracy, as we know it, no longer exists." But stop, that's the issue. Truth does not predicate democracy. On this point, I was just straight up wrong. I was naive. Dylan Riley explains democracy in reality has no intrinsic relationship to truth, nor does it require any particular institutional form. And on a tangent, he also makes a very interesting point, and I'll put it on the screen because I don't want to slow down the video. Now, the second criticism comes from a commenter, and while I may have been wrong on the first point, on this one I will happily and formidably stand my ground. Now, just to use an analogy, if, say, Tom were to discriminate against an ethnic minority, Tom is a racist. You can't just say, oh, that's because you're using a certain type of definition for the word which we do not conform to. Just no. I suppose the criticism comes from the way in which I define the word. So let's get to the bottom of this. The definition of absolute, according to Oxford, is, quote, not limited in any way. Absolute free speech is therefore, as I rightly said, the unconditional freedom to express opinions without censorship. So while some could make a perfectly reasonable statement saying something like, I believe in free speech until it impedes on the rights of others, it's as absolutist as Tom is no racist. Thank you so much for watching. I put so much effort into these videos and I want to put more effort into these videos.